is a very, very painful thing, and a lot of us know about grief. A lot of
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This video, guys, is gonna be a roundup, of some of the stories this week, especially a few days ago. Being that two of the people that died are individuals that is known by my relative. So I'm gonna be touching briefly on that. It's not about bringing the story, guys. I'm not gonna be presenting it as a news, as I don't do. I just usually just give my thoughts and just advice that can actually help to prevent some of the things that occurs and so on and so forth. Also, what you guys will hear is the thoughts and views from someone I know who basically lost her friend this week. A few days ago, a friend was murdered in Montego Bay, her and her partner. So she's gonna share how she's feeling about that loss, being so close to that young lady and her being murdered in that way. Now, within these stories, two stood out for me because of the backstory to those stories. In that, in two of the stories, it was a situation where these people were warned. One was the elderly lady that was murdered in front of her niece. It is reported by the Jamaica Gleaner that she was warned, I believe, by the police. She was warned by the police that her life was being targeted. And what is bizarre, or what I find very troubling, is that these warnings are usually overlooked, and I don't understand it. I try to understand it, but I can't understand why someone would knowingly leave themselves in harm's way. I mean, I know a story of someone close to me that lost their life that way, wherein they were warned and they said, God has me. But I always say that, God, the Bible speaks about God has no hands but our hands, or no mouthpiece. So God are no mouthpiece but our mouth. So God used us to, to teach, to bring messages, so on and so forth. So if someone comes to warn me that my life is at danger, I'm definitely gonna believe that that's God looking out for me. So I can't fathom how someone would literally get these warnings and take them lightly. But we know, as Jamaicans, we tend to do this because we feel like people are just bluffing. But guys, I'm just saying this. Be careful. You cannot take words lightly. There are a lot of people out there right now that has nothing to lose. You understand? They have nothing to lose. If someone tell you that they're going to kill you, take that seriously. Do not take these things lightly. A similar story. A police constable was murdered again. According to the news source, his brother was threatened and he was killed. These things I just cannot understand when we take these things lightly. How many of us have heard of the story of the lady? My grandmother used to tell me this story where the lady was having an argument with a gentleman and him say, "Hey, me chop off your neck." And she turned and say, "You can't chop off my neck." And she said, "See it here." And she turned and said, "See it here, chop it off." And the man chop off her neck clean. Who haven't heard about those stories? I mean, we cannot take words lightly. In this day and age, people are not thinking logically. People are not thinking that if I murder this person, I'm gonna have to be on the run, I'm gonna go to jail, or I might get killed, stuff like that. They're not thinking like that. People don't think logically these days. People think with their emotions. People are just thinking that you violate them, you disrespect them, and them just know say, yeah. And that's how people think. They don't think logically. You understand? So you can't take these things lightly. Because people don't think logically. People are just thinking, you diss me and I want to hurt you. And other stories that are so troubling are, are stories of, is a story about, two men that got killed at the gas station near Mullines Road. When I saw that video, you know what came to me? I just thought, look at life. Someone can be plotting your demise. Someone can be plotting to take you out and you don't even know. You're just there living. And look at that. Two men drove up. And just like that, life was gone. We have to take life. Life is so precious and life is so unpredictable that you just never know. Someone can be plotting your demise while you're thinking about tomorrow, or thinking about how you're going to make the next meal, or thinking about where you're going to go, or you're going to celebrate a birthday or stuff like that. And just like that, someone is there planning your demise. That is why we have to take these things seriously. And we have to live in the best way possible. You understand? Because in this society, we know this. Most of these murders that you see take place are mostly reprisal, or is a case where a man think that you violate them, or is something where you're connected to someone, family member, or so on. In some cases, obviously, there are people that die innocently in terms of stray bullet, stuff like that. But in most of the cases are situations where someone is connected to something, or somebody think you violate them when you did nothing, because some of these things are where people are innocent and then somebody feel like, oh, talk to me good, or you should have paid me this, or you need to respect me more. It's just crazy mentality. The mentality, the ignorance is just rich. But life is so unpredictable when you look at these situations. Another one, the young lady went missing and they found her burnt. And then I don't know if you guys have heard about the story of the couple that got murdered in Montego Bay. That couple, which someone I know is going to come on now and speak about her experience, because the young lady is a friend of hers, so she's going to come on and speak about her experience and how that felt, of losing that friend. And also just to talk about the general consensus in Jamaica, the atmosphere, the mood right now of how many killings are taking place and how it's getting closer and closer to people, where it's like it's in your backyard at the moment. So she's going to share that story of how she's feeling.
Well, as I can say, a lot of young men in the community, they choose different, but not everybody have those choices. And I'm gonna tell you this, in the community, a lot of bad men die, but a lot, if I'm not gonna say 100, if 20 bad men die in a community, 12 of those men are innocent men, because you're not catching the person that you want, and people just kill you because you know somebody what they know. As for one, I can tell you that, as I was telling you, I know young man will die because they're going to buy porridge and them stop for pay money from people in. And I'm going to tell you this to enough. I lost my son-in-law also to violence, and it's just the case, like, remember in the ghetto, you have more than one family living in a yard. In our yard, we have 5 different families. We're born like that, we grow up, we would stay, or we have to grow like that to reach adult and we branch out or whatever. But it is like this, you grow with somebody and then them choose that road and you not bad, but you don't want nobody to say that you're avoiding them, because them say man will hurt you and say you act like you're better than them or whatever. So if a man heal you, heal them back, and then I'll 3 different set of uno, and then the 2 of them start war, you caught up in the middle because you not pick no side, so you heal both of them, and you can't dead for that. You're dead for that, you're dead by who you know. I've known girl with dead for her, dead for her friend. I've recently lost a friend. It has been exactly 10, today is 11 days, because Tuesday was our 9 day, and She was shot and burned. This was somebody I took in. She lost her mom, and I was living in a different community, and I took her in as a small sister to me. I tried, even though you can't be, I'm not perfect. So I'm gonna accept her with her flaws and everything. She's a party girl, and I try to be there for her like my sister. I'm there for my children and all of that. I try my best, and she just is ferreting that, and she was just a fun person. She just always have fun. She's dance and all of this, and I helped her to head in the career that she was going. She was a nail tech. My hands were the first hands she did her nails, and she rubbed out my cuticle them, because I'm not a nails person. She practiced, and my hand was her practice, and that was where we're coming from. Our first shop was, I built a shop, and the both of us shared it, and I came home and she followed me home until she got her own shop, and that is how we were for years. And even yesterday I took out her clothes and look at it, and that is how violence has impacted me, because this young lady, she lost her mom, so she took on she was second to last child of her mom, and she lost her mom, and she took on the role of taking care of her small brother. And when she died and I went there to visit them, the first thing her brother said to me was, "How them for burn my sister and a dog them burn? Eh? Why them would have burn my sister? Why them couldn't even leave her from tell her bye-bye? How me gonna tell her bye-bye and I can't even see her?" She was burned to ashes, and we now have to go try to steer him in the right way, because he's 14 now, and all him see is them burn him sister. This was cruel, this was wicked, this done to him. Remember, him have a mother and lost him sister now. His mother died of sickness, but him lost him sister violent now, and that is what. My daughter, she not have no father for call upon. Everybody can say them father deadbeat and them out there, but at least one of the two times them can hear from them. She can't hear from her father. Him dead and him gone. And he died innocently, because that man, his best friend was his maths teacher at school. That math teacher was my daughter's godfather. He don't even have company. And when he died, they said that the wrong person, and I had to live with that.
Guys, there you have it. Yeah, very deep, very touching thoughts from Munchi. But guys, I think her word speaks for itself. I hope people are taking notes and just taking heed and understand what our society is, and that we have to be careful, because there's so much vultures and vampires and evil and so on in the world today and in our society. And unless we start to open our eyes and take note and take stock and be vigilant, in how we go about our daily lives, not let fear drive you, but to let wisdom drive you. Not fear, wisdom. Because this is what criminals are there for. They want to drive fear in you. But don't let fear drive you, let wisdom. So if you're being warned, take heed, move. Don't sit around and wait for the thing to happen. That is called wisdom. It's not called because you're a coward. It's because you are wise. So that's the video for today, guys. Just continue to keep your eyes open, guys. Until next time, Godspeed. Have a wonderful day.